Well, welcome to our Thursday Teacher Toolkit. We do this once a month, and today we are talking about adapting to irregular schedules due to extra activities and breaks, right? We have Christmas break, we have Thanksgiving break. So it's a lot of fun, and as a teacher, you need to adapt to all of it. So I'm Esther Edwards. I teach fourth grade at St. Luke's in Oviedo, Florida, and this is my ninth year teaching. And I'm here with Michaela.
I'm Michaela Harper. I teach first grade in Green Bay up in Wisconsin, and this is my fourth year teaching.
Yay! So this time of year is one of my favorites because it's the end of November. We are getting excited for Thanksgiving, and we're having so many celebrations related to it. And then Christmas, everything Advent and Christmas related. So the kids get to shine with their Christmas or Advent programs, and it's a lot of fun. And it can be a lot of crazy, but awesome, all mixed together.
Definitely. So, as you kind of enter this season, it can feel like a lot because it is a lot. But it's important to take the time to embrace it for what it is. It's a time that the students are really going to remember. When you think back to when you were in grade school, you remember those Christmas programs that you put on for your parents and that you got to do for the school, and those times that you got to skip class because you were practicing for it. It's times that the kids really do remember and cherish. And so trying to embrace it with a positive attitude is important. And those kids also kind of latch onto that attitude. So as it gets a little crazier, if you're able to kind of help maintain being calm and being flexible and being able to work around it, and giving those kids some heads up about it, can make a big difference in how the kids are responding to you throughout the day also. Especially if you're the one who doesn't lead the Christmas program. Amazing people who do lead it. It's not me, thank goodness, but I appreciate the ones who do. It's nice too because really when those kids are doing that, it is some extra time for you to get some stuff done. And a time of the year that can be a little crazy. If you're doing quarters, you're coming up to the end of another quarter with Christmas time. And so sometimes some of those extra little breaks are nice times to get that last thing graded or start some of your notes for report cards for the next round. So looking at it and finding those positives can help your attitude be, I don't know, helpful with how the kids are responding to it as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the things that you may or may not experience during this holiday season. Just this week alone, today we had a Native American come to our school and talk to us about the history of the Native Americans, mainly in Florida, where I teach, but also around us. The county I work in is named after the Seminole Indians or Seminole Native Americans. And so it's a really special part of our history here. And to see all of the actual artifacts and hear someone talking about it, really brings it to life. Yesterday, we had a Thanksgiving feast where all of the students at school got to share in a Thanksgiving meal, which like a typical American Thanksgiving meal. And then the day before that, I took my students to St. Augustine. So it's been a very busy week, and it's not even Christmas yet. What
Mm-hmm.
are some of the things that you've been busy with or that you're anticipating, Michaela?
This week alone, we had lots going on too. We do a Thanksgiving meal, but we do it a little different. We invite families to come and eat with their kids, which turns into a whole day of like five different lunch periods, kids coming and going because you want the eighth grader to be able to eat with their fourth grade sibling, who maybe they have, all sorts of different mixes and whatnot. So that kind of takes off a whole day, especially in lower grades. There were some classes who were able to get some stuff done. Kudos to them. But in first grade, we did some bingo and kind of just art, hung out for the day. We did Operation Christmas Child packing. So that takes some time too. We had to make the letters to go in the boxes for those on one day so they were ready for the next day. And then we've already started our Advent program practices. So we are in full swing of that. We've been practicing the songs for weeks already in our classrooms, and now we're already with all the other grades practicing in the church. So we do that coming right back from Thanksgiving break on that Wednesday. So
Wow.
full swing over here.
Yeah, we've been practicing our Advent songs and our memory for it, but we don't start practices until when we come back because ours is the second week of Advent. So
Okay.
that helps.
Yes.
So then when we think about Christmas as teachers, we also have to plan ahead if there's anything you want to go up in the hallway, and if you want to share a present with your students, or you want the students to make a present for their families or a craft for themselves. Now's the time to start thinking about all of those craft ideas or gift ideas and start getting donations from parents. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm gonna have my students make ornaments for an outside tree, and we're gonna have multiple classes make ornaments for trees outside for our outdoor classroom. And those I don't plan on them taking home because the rain will probably ruin them, but it'll be really fun and awesome. So I'm gonna have them also make another ornament to actually take home as a keepsake. That takes a
Nice.
lot of planning. So the more we can plan ahead of time, the easier it'll be.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're having your kids take it home as some type of like a present to their parents, taking time to make sure that it's somehow personalized and not too much of like a cookie cutter project that might turn out looking super cute, but you want them to be able to look at it and kind of remember, oh, this is from my kid at this age, and have it kind of look the age that they really are. Like you can still find something that's maybe a little more structured, but then they write their name on the back and you put the year, or then maybe they make a second thing that's maybe a little bit more of that age. There's lots of cute ideas out there. There's some ideas that are big things to kind of take over. Like I know one is you measure a piece of wood, how tall the kid is currently, and then they decorate it like a snowman and to remember how tall they were that year. If you want to take that on, awesome. But if you would like to do something a little bit smaller, that's okay too. The parents are just excited to get something that their kid made.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure it's something that's not overwhelming to you, but something that you actually feel is doable is important as well, so that it can be a fun thing to do in your classroom and something that's not stressing you out as you're going into the holidays also.
And when you're thinking about a craft for the students, think about the Nativity or something related to the Bible and Jesus coming back or the angels singing. Because if you think ahead 20 years, you want these students to look at that ornament that they made and be reminded of the true reason of Christmas, the real reason. And you want them to be reminded of their Lutheran school and not just some craft that they did. So we sometimes do like a no Santa zone where we keep the focus on Jesus and we don't talk about Santa. Other years I've talked about the history behind Santa, but we don't talk about presents because everyone's family has a different tradition. We really do try to keep the focus on Jesus for Christmas.
And just it's something to be aware of, especially in lower grades, that you have families who right away are like, nope, I'm Santa, and that's just how it is in their family. And that's fine, but you also want to make sure that those kids aren't ruining it for the families that maybe have Santa as a special thing. So the no Santa zone kind of takes care of that, or otherwise having a conversation when you do talk about Santa once in class that just kind of lays the groundwork of, everybody believes something different and that's okay, but it's not something we have to discuss or argue about at school. It's typically something that does come up. Whether or not you talk about Santa in class, it's just something to be aware of as something you might need to address.
Mm-hmm. I also like to focus on giving versus just getting gifts. And so our school does an angel tree where our room parents pick two children that they want to support, and then the class donates money and gifts towards things that that child would in need actually would want for Christmas. And the students do that instead of a gift exchange. So they are focused on giving instead. And it can be a very beautiful thing. My fourth
Mm-hmm.
graders like to help wrap the gifts too and experience that. And they put such care into it when they know that someone's actually receiving it.
Yeah, we do something similar too. We focus more on giving instead of getting for our Christmas parties. We have a parent who organizes a toy drive and she kind of collects everything and then also offers the opportunity to the kids that if they want to come help hand out, that's like an opportunity they can do with their parents. But she takes them all to hospital for families and kids who are stuck in the hospital over Christmas. And so that's another option is if maybe you're not sure what service project you want to do, send something out to your families because you might have a parent who's willing to maybe take over some of that for you. This family that kind of did she's now doing it for like 4 grades. So it's amazing how many toys she gets now. But she started it because they were a family who benefited from something like that at one point with one of their kids who was stuck in the hospital over a holiday. So it's a way that she's able to give back, and it's a really neat opportunity for us to kind of support her in that role of giving back also.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And parents really do want to help out. So invite them to your parties if you want. I know I've used them at hot glue gun stations so that the kids can do fun crafts, but in a safe way. And the parents love being a part of it. You can use parents to help set up all of the food for your Christmas party, make it look pretty, organize it, even help distribute it so that students' hands aren't getting on everything. You can use one to take pictures. So you can use your parents. They like to be involved. They like to see the other children in class and their student. So if you can, this is a good time to include them.
It's another spot that some parents like to be able to be involved and be able to plan some part of it. Maybe they want to plan the craft and lead that part or something like that. So if maybe you don't want to lead the whole thing or you are comfortable opening that up to your parents, that's another option that they could get involved there as well.
Mm-hmm. And then let's think about curriculum now. So we've talked about all of the extra fun things. You still do probably have to teach. And so I like to backwards plan and think about the whole year and what I need to get done. And I know that in December, I'm probably not going to teach as much content, at least not at the same speed as I would other times because you're getting pulled out for Advent or Christmas practices and you're getting pulled to do Christmas shopping or to do, random other things that pop up. And so it's a time to prioritize, maybe do some projects instead of tests, and maybe try to get all of your grades in a week before school lets out so that it gives you time to get caught up and you're not rushed the last few days of school, especially because I've had a lot of students who miss the last few days of school and they're usually the ones that I need work from. So if you can make sure to plan your grades early, it really does help. It also helps, as Michaela mentioned earlier, to start report card comments whenever you do get a break. Because even if you just do a few a day, you'll be able to finish early. I like getting my report cards done before I leave for Christmas break. I haven't always done that, but now that I do that, it makes for a much better break. Where I actually feel like I'm on break versus thinking about having to do that at some point.
And besides just even the grades done before that final week, I would encourage even if you have any outside assessments that you like to give to parents, for example, maybe like a star reading test or a math placement test or something like that to help show their growth from the first quarter to the second. I would encourage that you take that before that first week. Also, kind of like Esther mentioned, kids will be gone. And also, the closer you get to the break, the more of their brains are gone because they're just ready to be on break. So if you're able to kind of catch them that week before where they still know they have another week of school, their brain is still a little bit more in it, that can help also. And then you're not rushing or trying to get this kid here or there after the fact also.
Hmm. And then that last week, I like to do fun review games with them, whether I use Kahoot, IXL even has something now where you can use a specific skill, and my students are just not getting into that. Or bingo, as Michaela mentioned earlier. Those fun review games really wrap up the quarter or the semester, and they keep students engaged. And the more students are engaged, the fewer behavior problems you will have. But it also means less grading for you at the end, which is really, really helpful.
Mhm. And it's a nice time to be able to do some maybe fun things that you kind of want to be able to do, but you don't really feel like you have time to. If you know your grades are already wrapped up, everything you need to have is done, and now you know Joe and Sally are going to be out. If you're doing things that are more fun based and you know they don't need to make it up, and you don't have to worry about it. It just kind of helps everybody have a better Christmas break. Those kids aren't coming back to piles of homework that they missed. You're not sitting there, waiting until they're back so that you can finally get everything done. But you're able to bring in some fun things that maybe you'd want to do. Like for math, I switch out math and I don't do it that week. And I instead do Christmas around the world and I teach them about different countries and different things that they do in those places, which is something we wouldn't have time for otherwise. So it's kind of a nice time to be able to do those fun things that kind of get pushed to the side because you have to finish everything else during the year.
Mhm. Now, when I plan for content, I do still teach, like, I'd still teach religion. So maybe I'll skip a math lesson here or a social studies lesson there. But I still try to get to teach Jesus being born in December for Christmas. And then that keeps me on track for learning about Jesus's death and resurrection by Easter. So I like to keep with those religion lessons, even though there's a lot you can supplement with. Sometimes I'll break up my religion block into 2 periods. So one for the lesson that we're supposed to be on, and then one for an extra fun and engaging Advent lesson.
And I know, like, for first grade, if you're using the new curriculum, depending on how early you started in the year with it and how quickly you got into it, how many you do a week. I know that for us, we skip a chunk of stories to get to the Christmas one. So just being aware that you maybe need to skip and then not that you don't come back to it, but once you have Jesus born, you've gotten through Easter and kind of the big holidays, it's easy then to go back to the Old Testament if you need to finish up a few things.
There you go. My school also sent home an Advent devotion for every single family, and they got it from CPH. And I think it's a really good resource. It's a really good time of year to share devotions. So that's something that you can talk to your administration about doing. See if there's a budget for that, or see if you can either have students write their own devotion or you share some devotions. Either way, encourage the students to do a devotion with their family, maybe light a candle as you talk about the Advent candles, or even make an Advent wreath. I've seen students light Advent wreaths by just pulling, they have a tube of paper and then they just pull out tissue paper that makes it light up like a candle. So there's so many different ways to relate what goes on in the sanctuary to your learning at home and at school.
And there's so many different like pre-made Advent things out there too if you want to have something that's easy to grab and do quick in the morning, especially if you're trying to add something to your religion curriculum that you want to keep going with. Sometimes finding something that's already made is a little bit easier. Or even once you get to Easter, there's a lot of different ones for Lent or up to Easter, there's the egg one. So there's lots of different options of things that you could find and be able to kind of take and make your own instead of starting from scratch.
Yeah. And don't put too much on yourself. You don't have to do every single one of these ideas. Choose what works best for you, so that you can enjoy it. Because I think, as Michaela mentioned earlier, your level of excitement and enjoyment and calmness will transfer to the students. And you want all of these things to be fun, enjoyable, memorable, but you don't want them to add too much stress to your plate or to the kids' plates.
And sometimes it's just adding something simple, maybe a quick devotion in the morning. Or last year I started a 12-day countdown to Christmas, kind of as a play off of the 12 days, but we have to do 12 school days, so it's not really 12 days till Christmas. But then they get to do a little fun activity. Maybe it's a quick like YouTube brain break, or I think there's some like quick pictures, like how to draw a Christmas tree videos that they get to follow along, or a little game or something like that that only takes 5-10 minutes in the morning, but it's something that the kids look forward to and enjoy. And if I forget it, they let me know by the end of it.
I like that. And then Epiphany is January 6th. So I don't know if you return before or after then, but sometimes I've waited to take down my Christmas decorations until Epiphany, and I talk about Jesus coming for the Gentiles as well. And that is exactly 12 days after Christmas too. So it's fun to talk about that with the kids. So next Teacher Toolkit Thursday will be on December 19th. It'll be just a few days before Christmas. So that'll be fun. And then we'll talk about how to come back strong from Christmas break and goal setting. It should be fun.
Getting back in the swing of things.
Exactly. I'm planning for it so that it's actually easy.
Yes, that is the goal.
Exactly. Well, thank you for those of you who listened to this, whether it's live or later when it's recorded and posted. We thank you for your time, and we hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving season and Christmas season, and enjoy all that this season has to offer. Most of all, give thanks to our God, for He is good and His love endures forever. Let's go ahead and pray. Michaela, do you want me to pray, or do you want to pray?
Either way. I can. That's fine.
Okay.
Dear God, thank you so much for giving us this time to come together and share ideas. We ask that you bless these ideas, that you are able to help others benefit from them. We thank you for your son, and that you've sent him, and that we get to celebrate his birth soon. We are so blessed by everything that you have given us, especially him. All this we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you so much.